Hey, what's going on, you guys? Hey, welcome back to another episode of iTrack. Huge shout out to everybody that is just tapped in, man. Hey, I scrolled through those comments and I do appreciate all the support. You guys are absolutely amazing. And if this is your first time here, what we like to do is take a look at the most interesting and creepy videos from all around the internet and kind of evaluate for ourselves whether these are fact or fake. But before we jump into these interesting clips, do me the biggest favor and hit that like button for me, hit that hype button, and subscribe if you're not already a part of the iTrack fam. And we're gonna just jump right into it.
There's a rock and it's floating. Look. How does that work?
I think he might have been fooled just a bit. To me, it looked kind of like a wet log that might have turned that color because that's the color the water is. I don't know. Tap in if you know something I don't.
Listen, I don't really know what pitchfork is. All I know is the devil uses a pitchfork. That's all I know.
What do you think of the AI controversy generally? Because there are some people saying you shouldn't do it.
Well, the context is, unfortunately for Gen Z, they can't read. So nobody reads, you know what I mean? And what I said was, I used AI assisted things in the production. I said, all the vocals are me. I wrote all the songs. When it comes to the 80 cents and some of the guitar solos, yes, I used AI for that. But I didn't make a full AI album. It's not what I did. I was in the studio 3 months working on this. I'm just telling people because I like to be honest with the listeners of, kind of like how I used it. But I didn't, I indeed wrote the songs and that those are my vocals. You know what I'm saying? We use some AI sounds in the production, but we still created everything. As an artist that's been doing this for so long, I don't care. I don't mind it. I don't care. Like, I'm not scared for my position or scared because at the end of the day, I'm better than the AI, and I've proven that for the last 15 years. The question is, are people against AI or just selective against AI in some things?
Okay. That's actually a good question. So is it you or is it just anybody using AI? Here's what Doja Cat said.
Nobody asked me anything about Tyga, but I just felt like saying this. Tyga is a for making an AI album.
Okay, well, you laughed.
I mean, if you ask me, he's taking the right approach. You can't run from AI. You might as well work with it the best that you can and be honest about it. As far as Doja Cat giving her 2 cents, all those demonic videos she got going on, I think she might want to keep it on the quiet. I don't know. But tap in and let me know what you think about artists embracing AI and using it in their music.
This one is incredibly creepy. It is a vacuum cleaner sitting next to a child's toy chair. But the shadow of the vacuum cleaner, so close to the chair, creates the image of what looks like a child sitting in the chair. Yep, not a fan of this one.
We've seen the UFO files do 1 billion views the government released in America. The wrong question is being asked because can you really call something alien that predates humanity on this planet? That's how they run in the finesse. They not telling you that, look, these are species that are ultra-terrestrials. They operate in between dimensions. They use this place for resources. We human beings are a resource to them. Obviously, for some type of genetic hybrid program they got going on. And then they keep people off the track because they've already falsified all of the history. So you're not gonna go digging into the past because they done told you, they don't tell people that at one point in time, there were black kings in Europe. They never tell you like that. You gotta find it out on your own. So if they didn't falsify all of that, they calling them interdimensionals. They get away from the alien thing and they go interdimensional. They say NHI, non-human intelligences. But all throughout history, humanity has interfaced and interacted with these non-human intelligences. They've already misled us from the inception. So people are looking to the skies instead of looking into the earth and looking underground and looking to what's really going on.
Here's a really strange glitch where, when this person touches the strawberry in their sink, it makes their water run.
Okay, so here's my sink. It is a touch sensor thing. And here's some strawberries. Nothing happens when I touch the box, but when I touch a strawberry, just the strawberries.
Do you think Ted Owens was an alien?
This is a guy who could point his finger and lightning would strike where he pointed. And he said to me, this is going to be one of the biggest UFO sightings ever. He said it will be seen by hundreds of people. And that happened about 4 days later.
That is crazy.
Ingo Swann claimed to have used remote viewing to travel to the moon, where he believed there were aliens who forced him off.
Thinking aloud. Hello and welcome. I'm Jeffrey.
It seems like a lot of religions, at least at their sort of more esoteric core, were centered around the liberation of the soul from the body.
I would only qualify that by suggesting that while we use language that says the soul separates from the body, it might be almost the opposite. It might be like going deeper into the body.
Have you ever had spooky things happen to you?
Christmas Eve, 1985, I got a phone call from Ted Owens. And in his big booming voice, he said, you have to notify the U.S. government not to send up the next space shuttle. Because if they do, my UFOs are going to knock it right out of the sky. A few weeks later, the Challenger explosion occurred.
We have a report from the flight dynamics officer that the vehicle has exploded.
That is wild.
And there goes just a little bit more proof that there's always two sides to a coin. You know, we've all been told one story about how it's all been played out, but apparently there's a few people that know a bit more what's going on behind the scenes.
I guess my question to you is, if the president said, okay, Dr. Phil, with or without cameras, whatever, if David knows where these things are and gave me the clearance to accompany you there, you have the ability to take me to where we could see a craft and somewhere, somehow. You believe you could?
Oh yeah, we could take a little field trip out west, we'll say. Yeah, and we could certainly go to those facilities. So. And you believe there would still be something at one of these places that we would be able to actually see, knock on, something three-dimensional that's there. Yeah. Yeah, sometimes certain things are hard to move, you know, when they're particular size, it's a little bit laborious to move. So I think there's some locations that likely are untouched, because I'll be very vague on that, not to spook the herd. Yeah, I understand.
If you want to touch that thing, be my guest. But first, there's some things you should know. Meet the blanket octopus. This is one of the rarest octopus in the world, and they've only been seen by humans a handful of times. They get up to 6 feet long and 22 pounds apiece. Well, the females do. The males, however, are 2 inches big. The females are 40,000 times the size of males, and they mate. That's weird. But the craziest thing about this species is A, they're fully carnivorous hunters, and B, they're immune to Portuguese man-o-war venom, which is a highly venomous creature that people confuse with a jellyfish. And because of that, they've developed a super unique way of hunting. Basically, they'll find a Portuguese man-o-war, rip its tentacles off, and use them as weapons to sting their prey. And considering that venom can take out a full-grown adult human, that is quite the weapon of choice. Moral of the story, technically, you can touch it, but there's a strong chance that the suspect is armed and dangerous. And as always, follow for more facts.
So I saw a video that someone was trying to buy souls on a street sign. So we're gonna call the number and see what it says. Let's go.
Thank you for calling Rabbi Pui. We buy souls of all shapes, sizes, and color, regardless of your sexual orientation, BIPOC, pronoun, or gender. Before purchase, please listen to the following options. For black souls, press 1. For Asian souls, press 2. For white souls, press 3.
Get off that.
Other inquiries, please leave us a detailed message about what kind of person you are and what you think your soul is worth. Please be honest. Our associates are standing by. Once your soul is procured in the contact sign, you will have.
What is going on? Dude, they were trying to like put a spell or tongues on me at the end there. I had to get off of that. If you want to see this sign and what I'm talking about, just search it up. It's in LA. They are buying souls, people. The search is We Buy Souls in Los Angeles. This is not a lie. This is scary. Don't call.
You've seen these signs around LA, but have you ever called the number? If you call the number, you're directed to a hotline where you can leave a message negotiating the price of your soul and why.
Please leave us a detailed message about what kind of person you are and what you think your soul is worth.
Over the course of this project, they have amassed over 40,000 voicemails. The responses documented in this show range from the humorous to strangely poetic confessionals and personal reflections.
Once your soul is procured in the contact sign, you will have no obligation to uphold said contract.
Whether you've called or not, the one thing most Angelinos have in common is that they've seen these signs on the side of a highway. Follow for more LA Answers.
Over 40,000 people calling and leaving messages, huh? That's a shame. That's a shame. That's 40,000 people that's ready to give it up.
Check this out. Here in LA.
Whoa.
These guys are buying souls.
Buy your soul.
Nobody has a soul in LA.
Glitches in the Matrix are strange visual anomalies that can make you feel a little confused. Some even believe these strange glitches in reality are evidence that this is all a simulation. So let's look at some fun glitches in the Matrix, like this poorly aligned zebra, or this apple without smoothing, a grandma for every seat, and a cat for every bench, or these trees that forgot to fully appear. The same thing with these clouds. Or how about this terribly unsettling natural occurrence? Sometimes you see things that make you question everything. I mean, what are the odds? When it's raining and pouring, but it's only on you. Then imagine if your umbrella decided to walk away. Or if one day the orange juice forgot to load in. Sure, we all watch TV, but how often does TV watch you? Or how about this island that's in a lake, in a volcano that's in a lake, that's in an island, in the ocean?
This is Fox 6 News at 10.
It's the X-Files in real life, a former top-secret espionage program that was backed by the CIA called Stargate. Recruits used remote viewing, turning themselves into psychic spies. Fox 6 News reporter Kirby Moss joins us with more on one local man who is a firm believer in the novel perceptual discipline. Kirby.
That's right, a 1975 graduate of Carlsbad High School, David Morehouse, went on to become a decorated Army Ranger commander destined to wear stars. He says during a training mission in Jordan, his helmet deflected a bullet that knocked him unconscious. An experience, Morehouse claims, turned him into a psychic warrior.
I was struck about 3 inches above the right eye in the right temporal lobe by a machine gun bullet traveling roughly 2,832 feet per second.
Knocked unconscious for almost an hour, if David Morehouse told military doctors that he saw an angel in the darkness of his mind, this third-generation soldier may have been given a medical discharge.
I kept feeling perfectly normal, just like any of us do. It was just as if I was tuned into some kind of a channel that meant I was receiving signals from something that was not right here, physically present at this moment.
Finally succumbing to mental help, Morehouse says that it was during a second assessment evaluation when the lieutenant colonel in charge sensed a psychic pulse, urged him to review a file titled Grill Flame, and then asked him a psychedelic question.
Do you believe, do you want, do you hope, do you pray, do you wish, do you desire that there is something more than the physical?
That's when Morehouse jumped at the chance to transfer to the Army's intelligence support activity at Fort Meade and joined Stargate, the government's top-secret espionage program that selected and trained personnel to transcend time and space, to view persons, places, or things remote in time and space, and to gather intelligence information on the same. Remote viewers who enter the unconscious by focusing on a set of 8 numbers.
A simple, rhythmic, dogmatic structure that allows you to open the aperture into the unconscious mind and come back with information that can be used in this existence to solve all kinds of things.
In 1988, psychic spies used remote viewing to see exactly where the bomb exploded in the plane of Pan Am Flight 103 over Lockerbie, Scotland. And during the Gulf War, Stargate claimed it found the whereabouts of Saddam Hussein. From 1972 to 1986, the Stanford Research Institute was contracted by the Department of Defense to study hundreds of remote viewing experiments. Utterly convinced of its reality, scientists reportedly called successful data 8 martini results because it took them 8 martinis to recover. But in 1995, the American Institutes for Research claimed the government's psychic spies were accurate only 15% of the time. And that's good enough for David Morehouse.
This was taking something that was a tremendous gift to humankind that we put science towards and unlocked the secret. And it's real. It's all real.
But the government supposedly wasn't convinced. And in 1995, after spending $20 million over 25 years of research, the CIA apparently dismantled Stargate. However, one source told me the program definitely still exists because it was too accurate, saying, quote, it's just gone deep black somewhere else. I'm Kirby Moss, Fox 6 News.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's a question about if people have psychic abilities. I think it's pretty much a fact at this point. You know, some people aren't willing to accept it. Other people think it's coming from the devil. I think we all have supernatural gifts. I think others just recognize it a lot faster. But definitely tap in and let me know what you think about that whole situation, because that is pretty wild.
No.
That's not a coyote. That's a fucking person. I'm gonna get the shotgun.
Where's the dog?
Wow.
Well, you better go now.
I think their goal is the depopulation. They got to get rid of about 90% of us so they can live their happy lives that they got planned.
Do you think
for
it goes
themselves.
that
I
deep?
do. I know it. Yeah, absolutely. It's a UN agenda. It was 21 and now it's 30. Depopulation. And they take bets on how we're going to die, and then they get, their stock goes up. They go, oh, this many people are going to die from this shot, and so they invest in it and get a bonus. And this many people are going to die from the cancers that we also have the cure for, and we get money from the treatment. It's Auschwitz. It is 100% wall-to-wall Auschwitz, and that was their blueprint, and that's what I think. Absolutely.
How can you substantiate that?
Fact. If you go to, if you line up fact, and I can send you, I can't sit here and roll it off the top of my head, but yeah, I've kept records, and I can send it to you. Just by what they do, by just listening to Klaus Schwab and the WEF, just rolling it down all the way from every UN act, everything that they do is to decrease the population. And they say it right in our face. Well, they don't.
Is it just useful idiot shit? Well, they need them.
Well, of course they do. Canceled and destroyed and put in prison. for 22 years. I mean, that is the fascist
You're talking about
machine.
January 6th.
Yeah, but they took a picture and they're in there for 22 years. Yeah, it is a fascist, complete militarized state.
American soldiers went over and encountered large 6 to 8 foot monkeys, apes, that were standing on 2 legs and harassing them and throwing rocks at them and standing up on hilltops and looking down at them. There are famous stories in the Vietnam War about the Vietnam rock apes, is what they were called. So this is a lore that goes very far back, at least to the Vietnam War, where these American soldiers went over and encountered large 6 to 8 foot monkeys, apes, that were standing on 2 legs and harassing them and throwing rocks at them and standing up on hilltops and looking down at them. There's all these stories in the Vietnam War, which is a super interesting rabbit hole if you care to go down it.
I used to think we were living in a simulation. Then I talked to some colleagues, did some more reading, and now I feel a little better that we're probably not. The argument for it was you get a real universe, and then people in there get really smart and they program computers and they create worlds. And the people in that world don't know that they're fake, all right? And then they evolve and they develop computers and they create a world, and they create a world. And this goes all the way down. And so there's the real world and all the worlds that can create worlds, except the last one, which is still working on it. Eventually they'll get there. All right, throw a dart. Chances are you're going to hit a world that's simulated. That's us. But we don't know how to make an actual simulated world where everybody thinks it's real. So either we're the last of those worlds that's still working on it, or we're the first one, which is actually real. I'm good with
This disturbing footage is from Dancer 1. I'll tag him below. What you're looking at is Moloch the Owl God at Bohemian Grove, which Dancer 1 is no stranger to, allegedly. And this massive owl is the centerpiece of one of the Grove's most infamous traditions, the cremation of care. Now typically, when Dancer is invited, no one's around. However, this time, hundreds of people were gathered for this ceremony, and in an attempt to reach his vantage point and avoid the armed guards, he didn't realize just how close he was to being caught.
I look at PTSD from this place. I'm scary.
He essentially has to sneak across a Grove member's back patio while the ceremony is going on to make it to his vantage point. That's when he briefly makes eye contact with one of the members and darts into the woods. This is what he captures. Take a look. You can see as they begin taking the sacrifice via a boat over the water to the owl. But the longer Dancer watches, the stranger it gets.
Not with these flames, but here they live from regions where I reign. Priests and fools, I spit upon your fire.
Now this is only a small look at the entire ceremony, so go watch the full video over on his channel, and let me know what you think.
Have you seen these incredible new images of our sun? What's truly crazy is their scale. Zoom in, further. The entire Earth would fit right here. Keep zooming. The entire United States could fit right here. What you're looking at is swirling whirlpools of plasma on the sun's surface, reaching temperatures around 5,500 degrees Celsius, hot enough to make diamonds boil. They're created by these crazy currents where hotter material rises and then it sinks as it cools. And these dark spots are where those currents twist the sun's magnetic field, releasing blasts of energy, giant clouds of particles that hit Earth, disrupting things like telecommunications and our power grid, which is why this giant telescope in Hawaii captured the sharpest image ever of these plasma whirlpools. And now they've got simulations based off them to see how they move. But what if you went even deeper into the sun? To see that, follow along.
A ver,
¿Qué es eso que está ahí? No son las luces de allá de los pueblos. Mira, ¿qué tal? Ahí está el muñeco, mira, prendiéndose y apagándose en a media laguna. Ay, déjame ver si le puedo hacer más zoom. Y no me dejes todo el zoom. Ahí está. Y ya tiene muchísimo tiempo que no miraba uno de esos. A media laguna está. Allá están las luces. Los puntitos chiquititos son las luces del otro lado de la laguna, del pueblo. Este de aquí está sobre la laguna. Ahí está. A ver quién va a decir.
Scientists can't explain why collapsing an underwater bubble with a sound wave produces light like this right here. Look at that. That is crazy. Y'all like the video.
In Iceland, this was the first totality there since 1954, and Reykjavik actually saw it for about 1 minute. Some locations had some cloud and rain that partially obscured views, though there were some clearings that allowed people to see it from far away. In Spain, it was a major hotspot with millions of visitors expected along the path in places like Zaragoza, Valencia, and others, including Madrid and Barcelona, that were just outside and saw some deep partials. Either way, this is one of those cool things that happens on Earth from time to time that actually brings people together and gets them to stop fighting for just a little bit.
It's not a demogorgon, but what it is a baby bird, a Golden finch to be exact. Now, if you look closely, you can see the tiny little wings and the tiny beak, but what you also see are some bright colored beads along the mouth, right? These are nodules, or what they actually are called are feeding tubercles. And what they do is they allow the parents to more easily identify and feed these baby birds, even when they're down in the darkness of the nest. As they grow older, these will go away. Hope that helps.
Now, when you think about extraterrestrials or interdimensional beings or just things that are creepy, right? Those birds at that stage look absolutely creepy. And tell me I'm lying.
Yes, people, our body can make incredible adaptations to repeating something over time. There's a muscle called the trumpeter's muscle or the buccinator that you'll sometimes see stretch out on people that have done repetitive high pressure stretching, but it looks like his muscles in his neck have also stretched out over time. The body is an amazing thing, and obviously this guy has been doing this a very long time, and his body shows it.
These are turkey burgers. Somebody tell me why. They're foaming. Like they're made with soap. Look at this. Look at that, it's like soap. So at this point, I had to bring them in the house from the grill just so I can really get a good look at what is going on. Look at this. It's foaming. I have never seen turkey burgers like that. Needless to say, they were not eaten. They were not eaten. They were put directly in the trash where they belong.
That is a big banana. As a matter of fact, it is the largest banana species in the world. The bananas are up to 18 inches long and are unusually wide. The name is up there because I can't say it, but the fruit, it's not even the most impressive part. The plant itself can reach up to 65 feet tall, making it the largest banana plant on Earth. Despite its size, it isn't actually a tree. It's a giant herb. The trunk is really a pseudostem made from tightly packed leaf bases. These things only grow naturally in the mountains of New Guinea. Their massive leaves can reach up to 20 feet long. A single bunch of fruit could weigh over 100 pounds because the plant produces so many bananas. And after producing fruit, the entire plant dies. But that's completely normal. New shoots, called suckers, grow from the underground root system and take its place. The more you know.
See, NBA stands for nothing but actors. Like I tell people this all the time, you have our disagreements, but in real life, it's not like I'm going to, have an argument with you with your family. Right. Like it's just like it's always Uncle Shaq. But
they always tell you exactly what's up, and the fact that Shaq and Kobe, when he was around, had this interview a while back, and Shaq saying that the NBA stands for nothing but actors. I mean, he is telling you without telling you exactly what is going on in the NBA and how the NBA is no different than the WWE. And if anyone knows what exactly is up in the NBA, the Nothing But Actors League, it would be somebody like Shaq. And again, this wasn't the first time that he has said something like this right here when it comes to the NBA being scripted.
Are your rings real?
No.
Oh. So it was scripted. You knew you was getting them.
Of course.
How's it going? Yo. What's up? Yo. You good? You okay? What are you doing?
I just found a fairy on my husband's shirt, you guys. Analyze this for me. Please tell me I'm not crazy. This looks like a little dead fairy, right? Okay, you guys, look at it. Right? Am I tripping? What is this? Let me see if I can get a better angle, get closer to it. Maybe I can hold them differently. I don't know. But I'm convinced that's a fairy.
Abraham Lincoln was assassinated in 1865, yet presidents, first ladies, White House staff, and even foreign leaders have claimed to have seen Lincoln's haunting apparition in the White House, his former Springfield home, and law office. His ghost was even caught on camera in a photograph with his widow in 1872. During World War II, British Prime Minister Winston Churchill reported an encounter with Lincoln's ghost while staying at the White House. According to the famous story, Churchill had just stepped out of the bath with nothing but a cigar when he saw Lincoln standing by the fireplace. Churchill supposedly joked, "Good evening, Mr. President. You seem to have me at a disadvantage." Before the apparition disappeared, visitors have reported strange experiences at his former home and law office in Springfield, Illinois. Then there's the famous Ghost of Abraham Lincoln photograph, created by spirit photographer William H. Mumler, which appears to show Lincoln standing behind his grieving wife, Mary Todd Lincoln. Historians believe the image was created using photographic tricks available at the time, but it's only fueled the legend.
This is the second video that we've done this week of somebody literally getting something on a dash camera, and quite good as well. So I'm gonna pause it on this creature, don't you worry. So I wanted to get right there. Guys, that's not a person. That is not a person. Look how long its arms are. See right there? It looks really contorted, right? In the way the image is, but watch, when this thing gets right here, dude, that is not a person, bro. That's not a person. No, sir. That is not a person.
This machine can see what an atom actually looks like. The scanning, tunneling microscope. They are crazy. Look, an atom is incredibly small. Like if an atom was the size of an apple, you'd be as big as the sun. Yeah, so scientists need a microscope that could see something that's way smaller than the wavelength of light. So these two scientist dudes were like, what if we stick a needle in the atom? So they make an insanely sharp metal needle that's so sharp its tip is just 1 atom wide. They take a silicon sample and bring the needle in really, really close, 0.3 nanometers away, leaving a small empty space in between. Then they add a tiny voltage onto the needle. This is where things get weird. Technically, they both both aren't touching. But quantum mechanics completely changes the picture, because there is a chance that at some point, the electrons from the sample will cross the gap and show up on the tip. It's called quantum tunneling. The tip scans all across the sample, a machine measures the movement, then builds a final image of an atom. For more smart nonsense, subscribe.
Y'all better pay attention. Now this is crazy. Check this out.
Painting your roof white, a way of cooling off planet Earth. That's what many experts are saying as the world bakes in brutal historic heat. This is like a bright white paint? Yeah, bright white. John Parker of American Home Contractors in New Jersey says painting a roof like this one white can cut AC bills by reflecting the sun's rays.
The surface temperature is going to be a lot cooler with a pure white as opposed to a dark gray or black.
The section of this roof painted white is 95 degrees, while the unpainted darker half is 165 degrees, 70 degrees hotter.
Considering the climate has been getting more drastic year after year, it might be worth it. But if you own your house and you decide to paint your roof white, the value of your house might just be dropping drastically too.
A security camera catches a cat looking at and being chased by an entity in all white before it floats up through the roof. A home security camera catches entity walk across the room, then an explosion of orbs appear.
I can't believe LeBron's in Philly. It doesn't make sense. I'm bringing it back.
I can't believe it either. However, on paper, they look dangerous.
LeBron apparently is going to be living in New York. As he should. He ain't going to be able to walk around Philly. Move to my neighborhood.
Hold on, how you practicing?
Helicopter.
Are you paying attention? This is clearly a massive Kobe ritual. Why else would LeBron be taking a helicopter from New York to Philly? Philly, the place where Kobe Bryant was born. Why else? And now you have all of these people openly discussing this as a real possibility that LeBron is going to be taking a helicopter. Come on, you all. People need to wake up and realize this. Again, what are the odds? Kobe's dad wore the jersey number 23 in Philadelphia, and now LeBron is going to Philly, who is best known for wearing the jersey number 23 after spending 8 seasons with the Lakers. And Kobe was known for wearing jersey number 8 and obviously 24, and LeBron is entering his 24th season. This is a massive ritual.
Interdimensional beings. How do they know that?
Based on testimony would be based on witnesses that have come forward. But what I can tell you is
the witnesses just were told that they were interdimensional?
that they've seen things. And what I can tell you without getting into classified conversations is that there have been incidences that I believe where very credible people have reported that there have been movement outside of time and space.
That's very vague.
Yeah. So, look.
Unfortunately.
Yeah. Look. Have I seen a portal open? No. Have I seen a spaceship? Personally, no. Have I seen evidence of this? Yes. Have I seen photo documentation of aircraft that I believe were not made by mankind? Yes. Is there historical significance to this? Yes. Is there multiple events that go back to, I would argue, maybe even before the time of Christ that have documented this in text? Yes. So do I believe that the government has access to certain technology? Yes, to an extent. And I believe that certain contractors potentially have back engineered this tech. I think that that's what can explain the advancements that we're seeing. But I also believe that this is a dangerous level of hidden information from the American people, because if you have an aspect of the federal government, which I can tell you, I, with two other members of Congress, were denied access to information at Eglin Air Force Base pertaining to whistleblowers because of the fact, and we can get into that story and what happened at Eglin in a second, but we were denied access and told that we don't have security clearance or the read-in authority on a special access program. That's a problem, because I'm supposed to represent and be an investigative body, and you have then people who are unelected that are operating basically in secrecy. And that's a problem.
Talk about a bad day at work. This Amazon driver got out of the delivery van to drop off a package at this home, but before she knew it, the van started rolling towards the garage and rammed its way into it. The homeowner posted on social media saying Amazon driver was told to leave it outside the garage door, but they wanted to put it inside.
We are living in a K-shaped economy. That means the people at the top are getting richer, while everyone else is falling further behind. As of 2026, the top 1% of Americans own more than 31% of all the wealth in this country. The bottom 50% own less than 3%. And the scary part is, this gap could get even wider, because wealth doesn't just give you access to money. It gives you access to information, technology, education, and opportunity. While millions of people are using their phones to scroll TikTok and Instagram, wealthy people and businesses are learning how to use artificial intelligence to process massive amounts of information, make better decisions, increase productivity, and create even more wealth. AI is not just changing technology. It could also accelerate the wealth gap. And if you're not learning how to use it, you may be falling even further behind.
And one thing he didn't touch on is wealth has a lot to do with the relationship that you have with money. A lot of people, you can give them millions of dollars, but they'll spend it and be back broke again. But a wealthy person knows how to live off his money and make his money make money. So, there's a lot to it, and that's another reason for that gap.
Wait, stop for a second and look at this. At first glance, it might look like a human hand, but surprisingly, it's actually a monkey's hand. Same lines, same fingers. Even the skin texture looks almost identical. Look at those fingerprints. They're closer to yours than you think. It feels familiar, almost uncomfortable. But this isn't a coincidence. Humans and monkeys both belong to a group called primates, which means millions of years ago we shared a common ancestor. And this right here is proof of that connection. Monkeys use these hands to climb, grip, and survive in the wild, while humans evolved to use them for precision, to write, build, and create entire civilizations. Nature didn't copy this design. It inherited it. So when you see this hand, you're not just looking at an animal. You're looking at a reflection of your own ancient past. Our ancestors lived in trees millions of years ago. Hands like these helped them swing and hold branches.
So let's start with the 7 forms of diabolic activity.
Yeah. So I propose that as a kind of a topic in the sense that I think a lot of people are unaware of the fact that there's 7 different kinds of diabolic influence. The first is infestation, where they infest houses or locations, inanimate objects, animals, as we see in Scripture, where they
Animals.
Yeah, and we see that where Christ is about to kick them out of the demoniac, and they said, let us go into the pigs. And so they go in, they possess the pigs, and then they run the pigs. Of course, they can't help but destroy them. They run them into the sea there. So they can actually possess inanimate objects and things, and so that's pretty common. a whole lot, but a fair amount of my work is actually going and cleaning up places where evil things have occurred and the demons have gotten their foot in the door. And so we have to, exercise the place and clean it out. So there's a fair amount of that we actually have to do. And then the next one is ordinary diabolic influence. This is what everybody suffers. It's ordinary temptation. And the primary way that they tempt us is by putting stuff in our imaginations. So they'll put not just the image, but they can also put the perspective on the image. So an example I often use is, a wife wants to make her husband breakfast in bed because it's his birthday. And so she comes in, he's laying in bed, it's 7 o'clock in the morning. She comes in and says, "Dear, what time are you going to get up?" Because she's trying to time it in order to get this. And then what the demons do is once he hears that, what time are you going to get up, the demons can then they can skew the perspective on the thing. They can jade our perceptions of people and of things, and they do that. And then what he hears or thinks he hears, or what he judges in that situation by their skewing his perceptions is, she just thinks you're lazy. Right. Rather than, and this is how they can actually destroy relationships. This is how they, in fact, in marriage, this is one of the ways that we're seeing as we're talking about families. That's always their first attack. They have to separate people psychologically first before they're ever going to get them to divorce. They have to separate them psychologically. And the way they do that is by skewing their perceptions. And then they can also move our emotions too. So they can kind of increase our emotional responses to things or cause emotions. And then as a result, it affects our judgment. So that's ordinary temptation.
No puede andar tranquilo por la calle porque esta gente te asalta. Y lo peor es que andan en grupo.
This is your reminder that this actor from Independence Day is also this actor from Star Trek: The Next Generation.
The stress of a challenge is very different than the stress of a threat. And you have to learn the difference. Push beyond that optimal level, and the stress actually begins to reduce performance instead of enhancing it. This, again, is known as the Yerkes-Dodson law. Now, more recent research on challenge versus threat shows something very similar. When your brain interprets a situation as a challenge, you actually stay adaptable.
First at 10, it's been more than 5 years since ABC 15 first exposed a scandal involving a body donation business in Phoenix.
A place known as the Biological Resource Center, and a place with one promise.
Connects those who wish to donate their body to science with medical research and education facilities.
Turns out the donation was just the beginning.
The owner accused of selling bodies and body parts. A trial set to begin in just months. And tonight, new grisly details of what the FBI says really happened.
ABC 15's Nicole Valdez is live. And Nicole, this paints a Frankenstein-like picture.
Yeah, it really does. Katie and Steve, closed for years. This building off 24th Street and University doesn't look like much, but according to new claims in these court documents, the Biological Resource Center was essentially running a chop shop for human body parts, mixing, matching, and selling them in ways we'd never heard of until tonight.
Described as unsettling, but it sounds a whole lot worse. One FBI agent revealing what it was really like inside the Phoenix body donation facility. In 2014, he saw everything from buckets of heads, arms, and legs to coolers filled with severed pieces when the FBI raided the building.
Confused and angry. We thought this was going to be doing some good.
He even spotted a smaller head sewn onto a larger torso in a, quote, Frankenstein manner.
It wasn't a choice we made. It wasn't a choice any of the families made.
Body parts piled on top of each other inside Biological Resource Center, where families donated their loved ones for medical research.
Discoveries of sickness and disease, maybe come up with a cure.
Some say the company violated everything they promised.
Tragedy that's never resolved, and it just keeps going on and deeper.
The limbs, according to that agent, with no apparent identification. The company sued months after the FBI raided, families claiming their loved ones weren't treated with dignity and respect, a promise written on their own consent forms. The company also accused of selling body parts for profit after saying They'd only use the parts they needed and would cremate the ones they didn't and return them. A torso with a head apparently went for $2,400. A leg about $1,100. They'd even sell knees and feet alone for under $500.
Now, the owner of the Biological Resource Center was already sentenced, but he was only given probation. He will be back in court in October, though, for several civil lawsuits filed by Arizona families. For now, we're live in Phoenix. Nicole Valdez, ABC 15, Arizona.
Now, Arizona, what all do you got going on over there? That's called diabolical to the 100th power. The last thing you or your family would want when you decide you're going to donate your body after you're deceased is for somebody to be selling your body parts. Complete disrespect.
Did you know that the reason that there's caffeine in a coffee plant is for bug repellent? Like, as the coffee plant is growing, that's one of the ways it protects itself, is it has caffeine in it. And so when the bugs try and eat the plant, they go, I don't like that. And then they leave the plant alone.
Everybody you encounter has an ego. If you somehow trip on their ego, if you somehow violate their ego, if you somehow make them feel insecure, you're going to pay a price. And if you go through life not realizing that, you're going to accumulate people with all kinds of resentments. And at some point, they're going to act against you.
If you hate ads, Sony owns a patent that will make YouTube's 2-minute unskippables feel like a blessing. And in 2021, that patent was genuinely granted. In 2009, Sony, the guys that brought us the Walkman, TVs, speakers, and of course PlayStation, submitted this US patent right here, officially known as System for Converting Television Commercials into Interactive Networked Video Games, which does a great job of downplaying what it could really be used for. Its main goal is to put an end to commercials running in the background that nobody pays attention to and instead force people to actively partake in them. It works a little something like this. Say you're watching a movie, a TV show, or any sort of content online, and a video ad for McDonald's pops up as usual. The only difference is it's interactive, with an on-screen display reading something like, say McDonald's to end this commercial. You then yell McDonald's out loud, and your voice is captured by your TV's microphone, which, by the way, every modern TV actually has a built-in mic if you didn't know. The ad's voice recognition then registers your response and ends the commercial, and only then you can go back to watching your brain rot. Sounds fairly innocent at first, but that's not the entire story. Because this patent permits the advertisement to prompt the user to perform any sort of action in the real world in order to end the ad. Which means no more going to the washroom or the kitchen or zoning out on your phone when an ad plays. Now you are the ad. This is part of a larger system meant to create a new era of interactive commercials that play more like mini video games. There's this other example that speeds up the ad if you throw in a pickle into the on-screen burger, one where the user has to interact with some cup on a table, not sure what the context here is, or this other one where the viewer is required to drive a Domino's pizza delivery car through a course in order to end the ad. And there's even an example of a multiplayer ad that can be played with other viewers remotely. Okay, that one actually sounds kind of cool. To be honest, they all sound kind of cool in theory and probably would be fun as a first-time novelty, but I can guarantee you this would get old and annoying real quick, on top of essentially turning us into walking talking ads for these companies when we're just trying to watch our show. Before you know it, we'll be missing the days that we just have to click skip instead of being forced to yell or deliver pizzas in the middle of watching our videos. For now, Sony has no plans to put this patent into place, but they own it, it's been officially granted, and now it's just sitting there, waiting to unleash itself into society.
When curious observers submitted the footage for analysis, even AI tools concluded that it had not been digitally altered. And when the orbs approached the camera directly, the footage visibly glitched, a detail many find hard to fake. The UFO community has pointed to this as classic orb phenomenon, but what makes this case unusual is the behavior, returning to the same location repeatedly, as if for a reason. What could they be looking for? Share your thoughts below.
Extra Morbid Facts, Part 240. In November of 2025, 33-year-old Russian model Angelika Tartanova was brutally beaten after reportedly trying to end her 6-month relationship with millionaire construction businessman Dmitry Kuzmin. She was abandoned with catastrophic head injuries and survived only after a passerby found her. Doctors had to remove a large portion of her skull to relieve swelling, and the brain damage left her unable to speak for months, with lasting problems affecting her memory and coordination. Even more disturbingly, Kuzmin allegedly allegedly used her phone for about a week afterward, sending messages to her friends pretending she was fine while she lay critically injured. The 42-year-old was eventually charged with attempted murder and faced up to 8 years in prison, but reportedly died of a heart attack before he could serve a sentence. Tartanova survived and has undergone extensive rehabilitation and reconstructive treatment.
Well, you guys, hey, that's another one in the books. I appreciate you guys, as always, for stopping by, watching, and learning with me. And let me give you a huge shout out to Switzerland, Sweden, Ireland, all the international iTrack fam for that fact of the matter. I appreciate you guys for always tapping in, leaving comments, showing love, man. I do appreciate each and every one of you guys. If you haven't already, do me the biggest favor and hit that like button for me, hit that hype button, and subscribe, man. And I will definitely catch you on the next one.